The Outsider by Stephen King is a supernatural horror thriller that explores themes of justice, guilt, and the nature of evil. It begins with the shocking murder of a young boy, Frank Peterson, in the fictional town of Flint City, Oklahoma, and spirals into a complex investigation filled with unexpected twists, supernatural forces, and moral dilemmas. The story begins with the discovery of the brutally mutilated body of 11-year-old Frank Peterson. Detective Ralph Anderson, the local law enforcement officer, is put in charge of the case. Ralph is a dedicated and methodical investigator, and all evidence points to Terry Maitland, a beloved Little League coach and English teacher, as the prime suspect. Eyewitnesses claim to have seen Terry with the boy, and forensic evidence, including fingerprints and DNA, seem to confirm his guilt. Maitland's van was also seen near the crime scene. These overwhelming details lead Ralph to make the shocking decision to arrest Terry in a very public and humiliating manner during a Little League game in front of the entire town. Terry maintains his innocence and is confident that he was out of town during the crime, attending a conference in Cap City with other colleagues. As the case unfolds, more evidence surfaces that supports Terry's alibi, including video footage and credit card receipts proving he was miles away from Flint City at the time of the murder. However, Ralph and the prosecution remain convinced of Terry's guilt, especially due to the overwhelming forensic evidence. Ralph, who had known Terry personally for years, struggles with his own emotions, torn between his sense of duty to the case and the growing doubt over the impossibility of the situation. As the trial approaches, the town is sharply divided between those who believe in Terry's innocence and those who are convinced of his guilt. Public sentiment is tense, and people are outraged by the heinousness of the crime. Terry's family, especially his wife, Marcy, is ostracized by the community. Ralph begins to experience doubt, especially after talking to the local defense lawyer, Howie Gold, and the private investigator, Alec Pelly, who are digging into Terry's alibi. Things take a tragic turn when Frank Peterson's older brother opens fire at the courthouse, attempting to kill Terry. Although Frank's brother is taken down by police, Terry is critically wounded and later dies in the hospital, maintaining his innocence to the end. This leaves the town in shock and grief, and Ralph is left grappling with the consequences of the arrest and his role in Terry's death. Despite Terry's death, the questions surrounding the case remain. Ralph, plagued by guilt, teams up with Howie and Alec to delve deeper into the strange circumstances. They begin to uncover inexplicable elements in the investigation. For example, while Terry was at the conference, several witnesses reported seeing him with a mysterious cut on his hand, something that he did not have when he was in Flint City. Stranger still, another man who was later arrested at the conference described seeing a man who looked like Terry Maitland, but whose appearance seemed slightly off, as if he were wearing a mask or disguise. Their investigation leads them to a number of other murders in different towns, all with similar circumstances. A beloved member of the community accused of a horrific crime they couldn't possibly have committed. Yet overwhelming physical evidence suggests they did. In each case, the accused also had strange encounters with a mysterious figure before the crime, and these individuals were killed before the truth could come to light. A key turning point in the novel comes when Ralph's team brings in Holly Gibney, a private investigator who was featured in King's Mr. Mercedes trilogy. Holly is a brilliant but eccentric detective with a deep knowledge of the supernatural. Initially, Ralph and the others are skeptical of her ideas, but as the evidence mounts, they realize something unnatural is at play. Holly posits that they are dealing with a shape-shifting entity, which she dubs El Cuco, based on legends from Latin American folklore about a creature that preys on children and feeds on human misery and grief. El Cuco has the ability to change its appearance to resemble other people, copying their DNA and memories. It then commits heinous acts while in their form, leaving the innocent to take the fall, and feeding on the chaos that ensues. Holly theorizes that this entity is responsible for framing Terry Maitland and others in the past. The pattern of murders stretches back decades, with El Cuco moving from town to town, taking on new forms and leaving destruction in its wake. As they gather more evidence, the group tracks the creature to a cave system in Marysville Hole, Texas, where El Cuco is hiding. Ralph, Holly, Alec, and others head to the location to confront the entity. During the tense and terrifying showdown, Holly confirms the creature's existence when she sees it transforming into Terry's likeness. She uses her knowledge and quick thinking to attack and kill the creature, smashing its skull with a sock full of ball bearings, an improvised weapon from her time fighting another supernatural enemy in the Mr. Mercedes trilogy. As El Cuco dies, it attempts to manipulate Ralph into doubting what he has seen, preying on his rational mindset. But Ralph, with Holly's help, resists the creature's psychological games. With the entity dead, the murders finally stop. The novel ends with Ralph coming to terms with the idea that some things in the world defy explanation. Although his logical mind still struggles to fully accept what has happened, he realizes that Holly's supernatural explanation was the only thing that made sense. Holly, meanwhile, continues to be a key figure in solving mysterious cases involving the supernatural. Ralph finds closure in knowing that Terry Maitland was innocent, but the guilt over how events unfolded remains with him. In the end, Ralph comes to appreciate the limits of human understanding, recognizing that sometimes evil takes a form that can't be explained by science or logic. In The Outsider, King creates a tense, layered narrative that keeps readers questioning the nature of truth, guilt, and the boundaries of reality. The fusion of detective fiction with horror makes it a compelling and unsettling read, full of unexpected turns.